Welcome to this episode of 10 Bestest. I'm Karen McFarland-Holman.
And I'm Brian Hart.
If you feel like you might be struggling with grief for something that maybe doesn't fit into the normal mold, you will be interested in this episode.
And I'm going to be talking about something completely ridiculous that I used to like when I was a kid. Stay tuned and let's get into it.
Wow, I'm already to my fourth cool sheet. This is going to have to do with health. So a little bit more serious topic, but really, really important. And it is called disenfranchised grief. This is a term I just discovered, but when I learned this word, I realized that I have personally experienced it. So let me tell you what it is if you're not familiar with disenfranchised grief. It's when you are grieving and your grief, it doesn't fit into larger society's attitude about dealing with death and loss. So the lack of support that you get during your grieving process can then prolong the emotional pain of that loss. And it originates, not so surprisingly, from the fact that our society holds standards and expectations of the grieving process. Film, mass media, all those build and maintain these expectations. Examples of deeply ingrained expectations includes 5 stages of grief. I'm not saying that those are wrong, but they're just so deeply ingrained in society. And also things like how long it should take to move on after a breakup. Disenfranchised grief, on the other hand, refers to grieving in scenarios that don't align with these expectations. And as a result, it's a lot harder to find social support and sympathy, and you can unknowingly internalize your grief. Examples of disenfranchised grief include dementia or other mental changes of a loved one, addiction of a loved one, death of an ex-partner, death of your abuser, death of a patient that you have if you are, say, a doctor, death of a pet, infertility, abortion, losing a job. All those examples are really common. So knowing that this condition even exists is a huge step towards understanding it for yourself and or being able to be more compassionate towards others. Disenfranchised grief.
Whoa, yeah, this is super important. And like you said, just to put a name to it can help a lot of people so much. So, and this is, I feel like something that I've probably dealt with too. And yeah, everybody is different. You know, thank goodness and a friend of the show and former, someone that was on the show, Brian Michael, who works at a funeral home, he really helped me since he works with so many people going through some of the, the biggest parts of their life of grief. And so when I lost I lost 6 people in a span of 6 months and 5 of them in a span of 3 weeks. It was a really hard time, to say the least. And luckily he was there. He is so good at dealing with people, especially friends. And he would just send in check-in texts, but he knew all of these tools, probably already. So the more people that can know things about this to process it yourself, and like you said, have empathy with friends that are going through it, is so huge. So thank you so much for sharing this.
You're welcome. And it is, like I said, so many of these things are common, like, for example, the death of a pet, that people might think like, oh, well, it's just your dog. But, oh my gosh, if you've had a pet and you've had them for 10, 15, 20 years, that can be awful. Yeah. Awful.
Yeah, and people that know always compare it to, it's like losing your child, and it really is. Yeah. And not only because, even your child will grow and mature and usually outlive you. These don't, and they're always dependent on you. They're always like a young child in your life. You are 100% responsible to feed them, to take care of them, but they give you love and affection and everything.
Unconditional love.
Unconditional by far. There's no terrible teens or whatever with pets. Usually they love us so much we don't deserve them. But when you lose that, if you're an animal lover, I think you get it. But even some people that have pets, I don't think quite get it. that some people can feel even more attached. Yeah, it's so important.
And where I really realized when I read that list, the first one that came to mind for me was my dad, who had a stroke 18 years before he died. So, and he was still the same person, but he also wasn't. And so there was loss, but there wasn't. And I realized I didn't really talk about it much with anyone because it's almost like I didn't feel like I had earned the right to grieve, if that makes any sense at all,
Yeah,
so you just don't.
It does make sense. And it's not like he was gone, so you shouldn't be
totally.
grieving.
Exactly.
You should be happy
exactly.
that he's alive.
And I was, every time I visited him, I was grateful.
Sure.
And it's so, so this was a really powerful thing for me to discover not long ago.
Wow, this is so cool. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this.
You're welcome.
That's great. Yeah, thank you. All right, so my next cool sheet is going to be what we call a palate cleanser because it is way different than that important topic. And this is some cards, I guess, a collection, and these are Garbage Pail Kids. So yeah, very, very different direction here. Garbage Pail Kids is a series of sticker trading cards produced by Topps, originally released in 1985, designed as a parody of the Cabbage Patch Kid dolls, which were very popular at the time. I mean, these were like the thing to have. Now, each sticker card features a Garbage Pail Kid character having some comical abnormality or deformity and or suffering a terrible, painful fate or death, with a humorous wordplay in the character's name, such as Atom Bomb or Blasted Billy, where his head is exploding into a mushroom cloud. So this sounds really morbid, and I promise you I am weird, but this is not super demented. But when I was a kid, I was just been in nostalgia lane lately. When I was a kid, these things were so great. There was, like I said, always two versions of the same card with the same artwork but different names, either A or B. For an example, the sticker, it was a sticker, it was a card, but you could take the sticker off. The back of it either had games or puzzles, or created a big giant puzzle, which was really cool. There was 15 original series, and I just remember as a kid, like, I could not wait until the new series would come out, and we would run as fast as we could with our allowance money or mowing lawn money or whatever it was. It was one of the first things I ever bought on my own. And we would rush and get the new package and open it up, and we'd be so excited. And I would talk to him with my friend, and we would like look at the different ones and we'd trade them or whatever. And I don't know why. It was like they were gross. Even as a kid, they kind of grossed me out, but then again, that's what made them kind of appealing. And my parents thought they were disgusting, and they were banned in some schools, which just made them even more appealing. And we were just so obsessed. And so it somehow made it into a cool sheet, and that is Garbage Pail Kids.
I totally remember those. And I think I just thought they were funny. I didn't collect them or anything, but I would see other people with them. And I think at that point I was definitely morbid phase and horror movies and all that stuff. So I just thought they were all funny. You have some?
So I have some because when I took that comic book class, the teacher, Sean Cruz, has done official Garbage Pail Kids with Topps. So these are some of his stickers, and I got this one specifically because it has Whimsical Wade, which is a play on Deadpool, and so I had to get that one for my sticker collection. And I got some of his Garbage Pail Kids Topps packaged cards. So I'm going to open this up on YouTube as an exclusive special.
Whoa.
And we're going to look and see what I get.
Okay.
This is the We Hate the 90s 8 sticker card collection. And yeah, I have no idea what these are. I'm probably devaluing them just by taking them out of the package.
Yeah.
But I need to know what I got. So hopefully, so what do we have here? If you're listening to the podcast, I'll try to describe them. So I got Wranglin' Rocky. I got Battlin' Buffy, so a play on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I got Hair Bills. This is a cat puking up a hairball. I don't know. We might get banned from YouTube with some of these. They're so bad. Ripped Upton is this wild-looking kid with ripped skin off of his face. Cookie Kim is a person shooting their own head off like a cannonball. Super cool, of course. Tattoo Loose, so baby with a bunch of tattoos. Who wouldn't like that? Good for all ages. Vanilla Van Winkle. I don't know. This kid's melting like an ice cream cone. And then Perry, of course, old Perry Oxide, who is pouring bleach on his head and is melting his face off. Man, I mean, who wouldn't love these? There's something for everybody here.
I would love to be in the room with the people who are coming up with these ideas. And
that might be out of focus with our camera. But yeah, some good ones here. Yeah, the old Garbage Pail Kids. So now I will look after the show. I will not belabor this part, but I'll see if I got one of the super rare ones because it talks about the rare. Yeah, like the Atom Bomb. So the like one of the first series, that's worth, if it's mint condition, worth $10,000 on eBay.
Whoa.
It just sold for 10 grand. So these cards are like, and of course, all the ones I had, I've since thrown them away a long time ago.
Yeah.
Not ever thinking they'd be worth real money, but they sure are. So if you have some of those, if you're an 80s kid that might have some, you might be checking out eBay and selling some of them. They're not all worth 10 grand, but a lot of them are worth a couple $100. There's lists of, which ones are rare, things like that. Craziness. I don't know why. I thought of it. Well, I know why, because I took the comic book class, and I met someone that actually made them, which I immediately, my childhood friend, still my best friend, I immediately sent him a text and said, I just met someone and took a comic book, how to make a comic book class from someone that makes Garbage Pail Kids. And he immediately, we're in our 40s, and he was immediately like, no way, that's so awesome. I can't believe it. I still have all mine. So now, Mike, you better check this out. They may be worth money.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so crazy.
Well, thank you for that trip down memory lane.
Yeah, that's, like I said, very, very different from yours, but yeah.
Hey, we got to lighten him up.
Got a little yin yang there.
Exactly. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of 10 Bestest. I'm Karen McFarland Holman.
And I'm Brian Hart.
So in terms of the disenfranchised grief, let us know if you're doing okay with any problems you might have.
Yes, absolutely. Super important. And for Garbage Pail Kids, maybe write in the comics, did you even know what those were? And do you want to? If you didn't, maybe not. But let us know in the comments. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow for 2 more cool sheets.
And please like and subscribe. It helps us so much.
Yes. And most importantly, don't forget to stay curious.